The suitcase hit the marble floor with a sound that echoed through the entire mansion. Amara Washington stood frozen in the grand foyer, her heart pounding so hard she thought her ribs might crack. Behind her, Kang Jisoo's voice cut through the air like a blade. "You have 10 minutes. Pack your things and leave." She turned slowly, her dark skin glowing under the chandelier light, the pale blue maid's uniform with its crisp white apron suddenly feeling like a costume from someone else's life. 3 years. 3 years of waking up at dawn to make breakfast for a little girl who called her Amara Sim with a smile that could melt ice. 3 years of living in this cold, beautiful prison in the hills of Busan. And now, without warning, without explanation, it was over. Before we dive deeper into this story, hit that subscribe button right now and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Trust me, you're going to need to see how this unfolds. "Mr. Kang, please," Amara's voice cracked. "Just tell me what I did wrong. Let me fix it. There's nothing to fix." His face was stone, cold, unreadable. Kang Jisoo stood at the top of the grand staircase in a black suit that probably cost more than most people made in a year. His dark hair was perfectly styled, his jaw sharp enough to cut glass. He looked every bit the ruthless man Seoul's underworld whispered about, the man who built an empire on fear and blood. But for 3 years, Amara had seen something else. She'd seen the way his eyes softened when his daughter laughed, the way he stood in the doorway of the playroom just to watch them draw pictures together, the way he touched her hand once, just once in the kitchen late at night when he thought no one was watching. "Is it because of what happened at the gala?" Amara took a step forward. "Because I stood too close to you in that photo? Because people started talking?" His jaw tightened. That was the only crack in his armor. "You're a distraction." The word hit her like a slap. "A distraction," she repeated, her voice rising. "I've taken care of your daughter for 3 years. I've been there every time she had a nightmare about her mother, every fever, every scraped knee, every single time she cried herself to sleep because she felt alone in this giant house. And I'm a distraction? Yes." Footsteps echoed from the second floor, small, rapid footsteps. "Daddy? Daddy, what's happening?" Seo-Jun appeared at the top of the stairs in her pink pajamas, her blonde curls wild from sleep. She was 5 years old, with her mother's hair and her father's sharp, intelligent eyes. When she saw Amara standing there with a suitcase, her face crumpled. "Amara, where are you going?" Amara's throat closed up. She couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. "Go back to your room, Seo-Jun," Jisoo said firmly in Korean. "No!" The little girl ran down the stairs, nearly tripping over her feet. She threw her arms around Amara's waist and held on tight. "You can't leave! You promised! You promised you'd never leave me like Mommy did!" Amara dropped to her knees and pulled Seo-Jun close, her eyes burning with tears she refused to let fall. "Baby, I don't want to go. I don't." "Then don't!" Seo-Jun sobbed into her shoulder. "Daddy, tell her to stay! Tell her!" Jisoo stood there, his hands clenched into fists at his sides, his face a mask of control. But Amara saw it, that flicker, that split second where his armor cracked and something raw and broken showed through. "Seo-Jun, let go of her. Now." "No!" "Now." His voice was sharp enough that even Seo-Jun flinched. The little girl loosened her grip, tears streaming down her face. Amara kissed the top of her head and whispered, "I love you. Don't ever forget that, okay? I love you so much." She stood, grabbed her suitcase, and walked toward the door. Every step felt like walking through concrete. She didn't look back, couldn't, because if she did, she'd collapse. Behind her, Seo-Jun's screams filled the mansion. "Amara! Amara, come back! Daddy, make her come back!" The door closed, and the screaming was muffled, but not gone. Amara stood outside in the cool night air, staring at the black car waiting in the driveway. The driver didn't look at her, didn't speak, just opened the door. She climbed in, and as the car pulled away from the Kang estate, she looked back one last time.
Seo-Jun's face was pressed against her bedroom window on the second floor, her small hand slapping the glass. Amara turned away and let the tears fall. 3 hours earlier. Kang Jisoo sat in his study, staring at the glass of whiskey in his hand. He hadn't touched it, hadn't moved. His mind was racing, replaying the conversation from earlier that day. The door to his study had opened without a knock. That alone should have been his first warning. No one entered Kang Jisoo's private office without permission. No one. Except her. Choi Min-seo glided in like she owned the place. Designer dress, red lips, hair pinned in a sleek, elegant style. She looked like money and power wrapped in silk. She also looked like the past he'd tried to bury. "Jisoo," she smiled, sitting down in the chair across from his desk without being invited. "It's been a long time." "Get out." "Is that any way to greet your former fiancé?" His hand tightened around the glass. "Former is the key word. We're done, Min-seo. We've been done for 6 years. "Are we?" She leaned back, crossing her legs. "Because from where I'm sitting, you're still making decisions based on emotion, still letting your guard down, still playing house with that nanny." Jisoo's eyes went cold. "Watch your next words carefully." "Oh, don't worry. I'm not here to insult her." Min-seo's smile sharpened. "I'm here to save you from yourself." "I don't need saving." "Don't you?" She leaned forward. "People are talking, Jisoo. They're saying Kang Jisoo, the man who once burned an entire district to send a message, is going soft. They're saying you're distracted, weak, that you care more about a foreign woman and a child than about the empire you built. My daughter is not just a child." "I didn't say she was." Jisoo's voice dropped. "But she's a liability, and so is that nanny." Jisoo stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. "Get out." Min-seo didn't move. Instead, she pulled out her phone and placed it on the desk. On the screen was a photo, Amara and Seo-Jun in the garden, laughing. Another photo, Amara standing beside Jisoo at a charity gala last month, her hand briefly brushing his arm. "Do you know what people see when they look at these? They see weakness, they see opportunity. And in our world, Jisoo, weakness gets you killed." His jaw clenched. "I'm not here to threaten you. I'm here to remind you of who you are. You're not a family man. You're not someone who gets to live a normal life. You're Kang Jisoo, and people like us don't get happy endings. What do you want, Min-seo?" She stood, smoothing her dress. "I want you to make the smart choice. Fire the nanny, send her away, before someone else does it for you, before she ends up in a ditch somewhere because someone decided she's the easiest way to hurt you." Jisoo's blood ran cold. "You're bluffing." "Am I?" Min-seo tilted her head. "There are 3 families in Seoul right now who would love to see you fall, and they all know that the fastest way to break a man is to take away what he loves." She walked to the door, paused, and looked back. "Fire her, Jisoo, or I can't guarantee her safety. Your choice." The door closed softly behind her. Jisoo stood there for a long time staring at the photos on his phone. Then he made the call. Present moment. Amara sat in a cramped hotel room in Itaewon, staring at the ceiling. The room smelled like cleaning solution and old cigarettes. It was nothing like the Kang estate with its marble floors and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the ocean. Her phone buzzed. She picked it up, her heart leaping for a moment. Maybe it was Jisoo. Maybe he'd changed his mind. Maybe. It was a text from the estate's financial manager. "Your final paycheck has been deposited. Your work visa sponsorship has been terminated. You have 30 days to find new employment or leave South Korea." Amara dropped the phone on the bed and pressed her face to her hands. She'd grown up in an orphanage in Atlanta. No family, no roots. She'd come to South Korea 3 years ago on a work visa, thinking it would be an adventure, a fresh start. And it had been, until tonight. A knock on the door made her freeze. She opened it cautiously. A woman in a sharp business suit stood there, holding an envelope. "Miss Washington?" "Yes?" "My name is Director Han. I work for Mr. Kang."
She handed Amara the envelope. Inside is a severance package and a plane ticket back to the United States. The flight leaves tomorrow at noon. Amara stared at the envelope like it was a live grenade. That's it? He's just shipping me out? Director Han's expression softened. I'm sorry, I don't make the decisions. Does he know what this is doing to Seo-Jun? The woman hesitated. Yes, he knows. And he doesn't care? I didn't say that. Director Han took a step back. Good night, Miss Washington. The door closed. Amara sank onto the bed, the envelope heavy in her hands. Somewhere across the city, a little girl cried herself to sleep calling for a woman who couldn't answer. If you're feeling this story, hit that like button and drop a comment. Have you ever been fired without explanation? Have you ever lost someone who felt like family? Let's talk about it. And trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. The hotel room was suffocating. Amara sat on the edge of the bed, still wearing her blue and white uniform because she couldn't bring herself to take it off. Taking it off would make this real, would make it permanent. The envelope from Director Han sat unopened on the nightstand. She couldn't look at it, couldn't think about the plane ticket inside that would take her away from the only place that had ever felt like home. Her phone lit up with a notification, a message from one of the other staff members at the estate. Seo-Jun won't stop crying. She threw her dinner plate across the room. Mr. Kang doesn't know what to do. Amara's chest tightened. She typed back quickly. Tell her I love her. Please, just tell her that. The response came seconds later. He won't let anyone mention your name. I'm sorry, Amara. She threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor, the screen cracking down the middle. Amara buried her face in her hands and finally let herself break. Not the quiet, controlled tears from earlier. This was raw, guttural, the kind of crying that came from losing everything. She didn't know how long she sat there. Minutes? Hours? Time didn't exist anymore. When she finally looked up, her eyes were swollen and her throat was raw. She walked to the small bathroom, splashed cold water on her face, and stared at her reflection. The woman staring back looked like a stranger, lost, hollow. She'd survived growing up in an orphanage. She'd survived being alone her entire life. She could survive this too. She had to. At the Kang estate, Jisoo stood outside Seo-Jun's bedroom door, his hand hovering over the handle. He'd been standing there for 10 minutes trying to find the courage to go inside. Behind the door, he could hear his daughter's muffled sobs. Not the loud, angry crying from earlier. This was worse. This was the sound of a child whose heart was breaking. He pushed the door open slowly. Seo-Jun was curled up in her bed, clutching the stuffed elephant Amara had given her last year. Her blonde curls were matted against her tear-stained face. When she heard the door open, she didn't even look up. Go away! Jisoo's jaw tightened. He stepped into the room and sat on the edge of her bed. Jisoo-na, you need to eat something. I'm not hungry. You didn't eat breakfast. You didn't eat lunch. You threw your dinner across the room. I don't care. Jisoo reached out to touch her shoulder, but she jerked away from him like his hand was fire. Don't touch me! Her voice was hoarse from crying. I hate you. The words hit him harder than any bullet ever had. Jisoo-na, you sent her away. She finally looked at him, and the devastation in her eyes made him feel like the monster everyone said he was. You loved me, and you sent her away. Why? Why would you do that? It's complicated.
That's what grown-ups always say when they do bad things, Seo-Jun's voice cracked. Amara said grown-ups should always tell the truth. So tell me the truth. Why did you make her leave? Jisoo opened his mouth, closed it. How could he explain this to a 5-year-old? How could he tell her that loving someone in his world was dangerous, that caring about someone made them a target, that he'd rather break both their hearts than watch Amara end up dead because of him? I had to, he said finally, to protect her. Protect her from what? From people who want to hurt me. Seo-Jun stared at him, her small face trying to process this.
So you sent her away to keep her safe? Yes. But now she's gone and I'm sad and you're sad and she's probably sad too. Seo-Jun's voice rose again. How is that better? How is everyone being sad better than being together? Jisoo had no answer. Seo-Jun turned away from him, facing the wall. I want Amara, not you. He sat there for a long moment, watching his daughter's small shoulders shake with silent sobs. Then he stood and walked to the door. Appa loves you, Seo-Jun, he said quietly in Korean. I don't care, came the muffled response. He closed the door and leaned against the wall in the hallway, pressing the heels of his hands against his eyes. Down the hall, a door opened. Choi Min-seo stepped out of the guest room she'd insisted on staying in just for tonight. She was wearing a silk robe, her hair down, her makeup perfect even at this hour. She looked at Jisoo with something that might have been sympathy if her eyes weren't so calculating. Children are resilient, she said softly, walking toward him. She'll forget about the nanny in a few weeks. Don't. Jisoo's voice was low and dangerous. Don't talk about my daughter. I'm trying to help you. You've helped enough. He pushed off the wall and started walking toward his study. Min-seo followed. Jisoo, wait. I said don't. She grabbed his arm and he spun around so fast she actually took a step back. The look in his eyes made her remember why people feared him. You got what you wanted. Amara's gone. Now get out of my house. Is she, though? Min-seo tilted her head. Gone, I mean. Because I checked with the airport, she didn't take the flight I arranged for tomorrow. In fact, she hasn't booked any flights at all. Jisoo's heart stuttered. What? She's still in Seoul, still in that little hotel in Taiwan. Min-seo's smile was sharp, which means she's still a problem. She's not a problem. She's a woman who just lost her job and needs time to figure out what to do next. Or she's a woman who's hoping you'll change your mind. Min-seo stepped closer. And if she stays in Seoul, if she's seen anywhere near you or your daughter, people will notice. They'll know you're weak. They'll know exactly how to hurt you. I don't care. Her voice dropped. But you should, because I wasn't bluffing earlier. There are people who would kill her just to send you a message. Is that what you want? To find her body in the Han River with a note attached telling you this is what happens when Kang Jisoo cares about someone? His hands clenched into fists. Get out of my house. Min-seo studied his face for a long moment, then smiled. Fine, but when she ends up dead, remember I tried to warn you. She walked past him, her heels clicking against the marble floor, and disappeared into the guest room. Jisoo stood there in the empty hallway, his mind racing. He pulled out his phone and called his head of security. I need you to find someone, Amara Washington. She's staying at a hotel in Taiwan. I need eyes on her 24/7. If anyone, and I mean anyone, gets within 10 feet of her, I want to know about it. Yes, sir. Should we approach her? No, just watch and keep her safe. He hung up and walked into a study, closing the door behind him. The room was dark except for the city lights filtering through the floor-to-ceiling windows. He poured himself a drink and stared out at the Seoul skyline. Somewhere out there, Amara was alone, scared, probably crying. Because of him. He'd spent his entire life making impossible choices, choosing power over happiness, control over love, survival over everything else. But this choice felt different. This choice felt like he'd just cut out his own heart. Morning came too quickly. Amara woke up with a pounding headache and swollen eyes. She'd finally fallen asleep around 4 a.m., still in her uniform, still on top of the covers. For a moment, just one blissful moment, she forgot where she was, forgot what had happened.
Then reality crashed down. She sat up slowly, her body aching like she'd been in a fight. Her phone was still on the floor where she'd thrown it, the screen shattered but somehow still working. She picked it up and saw 17 missed calls, all from numbers she didn't recognize. Probably job recruiters or immigration services. She deleted them all. The envelope from Director Han was still on the nightstand. Amara finally opened it. Inside was a check, 3 months severance pay, and a plane ticket. Atlanta. Departure today at noon. She looked at the clock. It was already 9 a.m. 3 hours. 3 hours to decide if she was going to leave Korea and never look back, or stay and fight for the family she'd lost. Her stomach growled. She hadn't eaten since yesterday morning. She needed food, needed air, needed to think. Amara changed out of her uniform, folding it carefully, almost reverently, and put on jeans and a sweater. She grabbed her cracked phone and walked out of the hotel room. The streets of Itaewon were already busy. Tourists, business people, students, everyone moving with purpose, while Amara felt like she was floating through a nightmare. Her phone buzzed. She looked down, expecting another unknown number. Instead, it was a message from the estate's head housekeeper, a woman named Mrs. Jung who'd been kind to her from day one. Seo-Jun won't eat, won't sleep. She's making herself sick. I thought you should know. Amara's eyes filled with tears. She typed back with shaking hands. Is she okay? Does she have a fever? Not yet, but she will if this continues. Mr. Kang doesn't know what to do. Amara stared at the message. Good, she thought bitterly. Let him suffer. Let him see what he's done. But then she thought about Seo-Jun's face, those blue eyes, that laugh, the way she'd wrap her arms around Amara's neck and whisper, "You're my favorite person in the whole world." She couldn't leave. Not yet. Not without seeing her one more time. Not without saying goodbye properly. This story is getting intense. If you're still with us, drop a like and let us know in the comments, what would you do in Amara's position? Would you leave or would you fight? Everything is about to change. Amara stood outside the gates of the Kang estate at sunset. She'd taken a taxi from Itaewon, her heart pounding the entire ride. The driver had given her strange looks in the rearview mirror, a black woman in casual clothes staring at a crumpled piece of paper with an address written on it, her eyes red from crying. She'd paid him and stepped out onto the quiet street where Seoul's wealthiest families lived behind tall walls and iron gates. The Kang estate loomed in front of her. She'd walked out of those gates less than 24 hours ago, and now she was back. Not to beg for her job, not to beg Jisoo for anything. She was here for Seo-Jun. Amara pressed the intercom button. Silence. She pressed it again. Who is this? A male voice, one of the security guards. It's Amara Washington. I need to see Seo-Jun. Miss Washington, you're no longer employed here. You need to leave. I just need 5 minutes. Please, just let me say goodbye to her properly. She's sick because of me. Let me fix this. There was a long pause. Wait here. The intercom went dead. Amara waited. 1 minute, 2, 5, 10. Just when she thought they were going to ignore her completely, the gate began to open. But it wasn't a security guard who walked out. It was Jisoo. He stood there in the driveway, hands in his pockets, his face unreadable. He'd changed from his suit into bark pants and a black sweater that made him look less like a Mafia boss and more like a man who hadn't slept in days. His hair disheveled, his jaw tight, dark circles shadowed his eyes. You shouldn't be here, he said quietly. I know, but Seo-Jun is sick, and it's my fault. It's not your fault. Then whose fault is it, Jisoo? She took a step forward. Because from where I'm standing, you fired me without explanation, broke your daughter's heart, and now she's making herself sick because she thinks I abandoned her. His jaw clenched. I did what I had to do.
To protect me? Amara's voice rose. Mrs. Jung told me everything. She told me about Mensio, about the threats, about how you think sending me away will keep me safe. Jisoo's eyes darkened. Mrs. Jung needs to learn to keep her mouth shut. Don't you dare blame her for this. Amara's hands balled into fists. You don't get to push everyone away and then act like you're some kind of martyr. You want to protect me? Fine, but you don't get to make that decision without even asking me what I want. What you want doesn't matter when your life is on the line. My life? Amara laughed bitterly. My life was in that house. My life was reading bedtime stories and making breakfast and teaching a little girl how to braid hair. You didn't protect me, Jisoo. You destroyed me. Something cracked in his expression. Just for a second. A flash of pain so raw it made her chest ache. Do you think this was easy for me? His voice was low, dangerous. Do you think I wanted to watch you walk off that door? Do you think I wanted to hear my daughter scream your name and know it was my fault? Then why did you do it? Because I've already buried one woman I cared about. The words exploded out of him. I buried Isabel. I watched her die in a hospital bed because someone decided the best way to hurt me was to tamper with her medication during childbirth. And I swore I would never let that happen again. Amara's breath caught. She'd known Isabel died during childbirth, but she'd never known it was murder. Jisoo, she whispered. I can't protect you if you're close to me, he continued, his voice breaking. Min Seo was right. People know how to hurt me now. They know about Seo-Jun, and now they know about you. Every second you're in my life, you're in danger. So you'd rather I be miserable and safe than happy and at risk? Yes. That's not love, Jisoo. That's control. His eyes met hers, and the intensity in them made her knees weak. I never said I loved you. The words should have hurt, should have cut deep. But Amara saw the truth written all over his face, saw it in the way his hands trembled slightly at his sides, saw it in the way he was standing just far enough away that he wouldn't be tempted to reach for her. You didn't have to say it, she said softly. I saw it every time you looked at me, every time you stood too close in the kitchen, every time you found an excuse to be in the same room as me and Seo-Jun. It doesn't matter what I feel. It's the only thing that matters. They stood there in the fading light, two people who'd found something rare and beautiful in the most unlikely place, watching it crumble because one of them was too afraid to hold on. Let me see her, Amara says finally. Let me say goodbye properly. Let me tell her this isn't her fault, and then I'll leave. I'll get on that plane and you'll never see me again. Jisoo stared at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Seo-Jun's bedroom was dark except for a small nightlight shaped like a star. The little girl was in bed, facing the wall, the stuffed elephant clutched against her chest. She didn't move when the door opened. Seo-Jun, Jisoo said softly in Korean. Someone's here to see you. I don't want to see anyone. Not even me? Amara's voice was gentle. Seo-Jun's entire body went rigid. She rolled over slowly, her eyes wide and disbelieving. When she saw Amara standing in the doorway, still in her jeans and sweater, her face lit up for just a second before crumbling completely. Amara! She scrambled out of bed and ran across the room, throwing herself into Amara's arms. Amara caught her and held on tight, burying her face in those blonde curls that smelt like baby shampoo and innocence. Hey, baby girl, I missed you so much. You came back. I knew you'd come back. I told Daddy you would. Amara's throat tightened. She glanced at Jisoo standing in the doorway, his expression carefully blank. He gave her a slight nod and stepped out, closing the door behind them to give them privacy.
Amara carried Seo-Jun back to the bed and sat down, keeping the little girl in her lap. Listen to me, sweetheart. I need to tell you something important, okay? Seo-Jun's smile faded. You're leaving again, aren't you? Yes. No! Seo-Jun's hands clutched at Amara's sweater. You just got here. You can't leave again. Please, don't leave again. Baby, I have to, but I need you to understand something first. Amara tilted Seo-Jun's chin up so they were eye to eye. None of this is your fault. Do you hear me?
You didn't do anything wrong. I'm not leaving because of you. Then why? How do you explain adult complications to a 5-year-old? How do you explain danger and sacrifice and impossible choices? Sometimes grown-ups have to make really hard decisions, Amara said carefully. And your daddy made a decision that he thought would keep everyone safe. He's not trying to be mean. He's trying to protect the people he loves. But I love you. Seo-Jun's eyes filled with tears. And Daddy loves you too. I know he does. I see the way he looks at you when you're making breakfast. I see the way he smiles when you laugh. If everyone loves each other, why can't we all just stay together? Amara's heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. Because sometimes love isn't enough, baby. Sometimes the world is scary and complicated, and we have to make choices that hurt. I hate the world then, Seo-Jun said fiercely. I hate it, and I hate Daddy for making you leave, and I hate that stupid lady in the red dress who came here and said mean things. Amara froze. What lady in the red dress? The mean one. She came 3 days ago and talked to Daddy in his office. I was supposed to be sleeping, but I heard them yelling. She said you were dangerous and that Daddy needed to send you away or something bad would happen. Amara's blood ran cold. What else did she say, Seo-Jun? This is really important. What else did you hear? Seo-Jun's face scrunched up, trying to remember. She said if Daddy didn't make you leave, she would make you disappear forever. And then Daddy got really quiet and scary and told her to get out. But the next morning, he told you to leave instead. Amara's hands were shaking. So it was true, all of it. Min Seo had threatened her life, and Jisoo had chosen the only option he thought would keep her safe. Amara? Seo-Jun's small voice pulled her back. Are you okay? Yeah, baby, I'm okay. She kissed the top of Seo-Jun's head. Listen to me. I need you to do something for me. I need you to eat your meals. I need you to sleep. I need you to be strong and brave and take care of your daddy, okay? Because he needs you. But I need you. I know, and I need you too. But sometimes we don't get what we need. Sometimes we just have to be grateful for the time we had. Seo-Jun was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. Will I ever see you again? Amara wanted to lie, wanted to promise that everything would be okay, but she never lied to this child, and she wasn't going to start now. I don't know, sweetheart. I really don't know. They sat there together for a long time, Amara rocking Seo-Jun gently until the little girl's tears subsided and her breathing evened out. She was exhausted from days of not eating or sleeping properly. Within minutes, she was asleep in Amara's arms. Amara laid her down gently, tucked the blanket around her, and placed the stuffed elephant beside her. I love you, she whispered. Always. She stood and walked to the door, her vision blurred with tears. Jisoo was waiting in the hallway. She told me what she heard, Amara said quietly. Min Seo threatened my life. Yes. And you believed her. I've seen what she's capable of. I couldn't take the risk. Amara stepped closer to him, close enough to see the gold flecks in his dark eyes, close enough to feel the heat radiating from his body. You're not God, Jisoo. You don't get to decide who lives and who dies and who gets to make their own choices. I'm trying to keep you alive. And I'm trying to live, her voice broke. I spent my whole childhood in an orphanage with no one to love me, no home, no family. And then I came here and found both. For the first time in my life, I wasn't alone. And you took that away from me because you're too afraid to fight for it. I'm not afraid. Yes, you are. She reached up and touched his face, and he flinched like her hand was fire. You're terrified, and I understand why, but you can't protect people by pushing them away. That's not protection. That's just another way of losing them. Jisoo's hand came up and pressed hers against his cheek. His eyes closed. If something happened to you because of me, I wouldn't survive it, he whispered. I barely survived losing Isabel. I wouldn't survive losing you.
Then don't lose me. Fight for me. Fight for us.
He opened his eyes, and the pain in them was unbearable. I don't know how. If this story has grabbed you, hit that like button and drop a comment telling us where you are watching from. Do you think Jisoo and Amara have a chance? Can love really conquer all? And you won't believe how this ends. Don't go anywhere. Amara pulled her hand away from Jisoo's face and took a step back. The space between them felt like an ocean. Then I guess this is goodbye, she said, her voice hollow. She turned and walked down the hallway, her footsteps echoing on the marble floor. Every step felt heavier than the last. Behind her, she could feel Jisoo watching, could feel the weight of everything unsaid hanging in the air between them. She made it to the grand staircase, started descending. Wait! Jisoo's voice stopped her halfway down. She turned. He was standing at the top of the stairs, his hands clenched into fists at his sides, his face a battlefield of emotion. I don't know how to fight for this, he said, his voice raw. I don't know how to be the kind of man who gets a happy ending. My whole life has been about control, about eliminating threats before they eliminate me, about keeping everyone at arm's length so they can't be used against me. I know, Amara said softly. But when you walked through that door 3 years ago, he took a step forward, you looked at me like I was just a man, not a monster, not someone to fear, just a man who needed help taking care of his daughter. And for 3 years, you made me believe I could be that person, just a man, just a father, maybe even... He stopped, the word catching in his throat. Maybe even someone worth loving? Amara finished for him. Yes. The single word hung between them like a prayer. Amara climbed back up the stairs slowly, her heart pounding. When she reached the top, she stood in front of him, so close she could see the rapid rise and fall of his chest. You are worth loving, Jisoo, but you have to believe that yourself. You have to stop punishing yourself for Isabel's death. You didn't kill her. The people who tampered with her medication did, and they did it because they wanted to hurt you, yes, but that's not your fault. It feels like my fault. I know it does. Her voice was gentle, but you can't spend the rest of your life running from happiness because you're afraid of losing it. That's not living. That's just existing. Jisoo reached out slowly, carefully, like he was afraid she might disappear. His hand cupped her face, his thumb brushing away a tear she didn't realize had fallen. If I do this, he said quietly, if I ask you to stay, if I fight for this, people will come after you. Min Seo isn't the only threat. There are others, people who would hurt you just to send me a message. Then we deal with them together. It's not that simple. Yes, it is. Amara covered his hand with hers. You just have to choose. Do you want to spend your life afraid of what might happen, or do you want to spend it fighting for what you love? Jisoo stared at her for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Then he made his choice. He pulled her into his arms and kissed her. It wasn't gentle, it wasn't careful, it was desperate and fierce and full of 3 years of longing and fear and hope. Amara's hands fisted in his sweater, pulling him closer, pouring everything she couldn't say into that kiss. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Jisoo rested his forehead against hers. I'm choosing you, he whispered. I'm choosing us, and anyone who tries to hurt you will have to go through me first. Amara's eyes filled with tears. You mean that? I've meant anything more in my life. The next morning, Choi Min-seo sat in an upscale cafe in Gangnam, sipping her latte and scrolling her phone. She'd already booked her flight back to Seoul's satellite office. Her work here was done. Jisoo had fired the nanny. The girl was probably on a plane back to America by now. Everything was falling back into place.
Her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. Yes? Miss Choi. The voice on the other end was cold, professional. This is Director Han. Mr. Kang has requested a meeting with you. Today, noon. His office. Min-seo frowned. What's this about? I'm not at liberty to say. Will you be there? Something in the woman's tone made Min-seo's instincts prickle, but she was curious and confident. Whatever Jisoo wanted to say, she could handle it. I'll be there. At noon, Min-seo walked into the Kang estate like she owned it. She'd dressed to impress,
Red dress, black heels, hair and makeup flawless. When she was shown into Jisoo's study, she found him standing by the window looking out at the ocean. "Jisoo," she smiled. "You wanted to see me?" He turned slowly. The look in his eyes made her smile falter. "Sit down, Seo." "I'd rather stand." "I wasn't asking." The edge in his voice made her sit. Jisoo walked around his desk and leaned against it, arms crossed. "I'm going to give you one chance to leave Seoul quietly. One chance to walk away from this and never contact me or my family again." Seo's eyebrows rose. "Or what?" "Or I will make sure every family in Seoul's underworld knows exactly what you did to Isabel." The color drained from her face. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do." Jisoo's voice was deadly calm. "I've spent the past 5 years thinking Isabel's death was the work of a rival family. But yesterday, something you said made me start asking questions, and I'm very good at getting answers when I want them." He pulled out a folder from his desk and tossed it in front of her. Seo's hands trembled as she opened it. Inside were documents, financial records, communications, all linking her family's pharmaceutical company to the batch of medication that had been tampered with, the batch that had killed Isabel. "You killed her," Jisoo said quietly. "You killed the mother of my child because you were jealous, because I chose her over you." "Jisoo, I can explain." "Don't." His voice was like ice. "Don't insult me by lying. I have proof. I have witnesses. I have everything I need to destroy you and your entire family." Seo stood abruptly. "If you expose this, you'll start a war. My family won't go down without a fight." "I know." Jisoo straightened. "Which is why I'm giving you this one chance. Leave Seoul. Tonight. Disappear. And maybe, I'll let you live." "And if I refuse?" Jisoo's smile was cold enough to freeze blood. "Then I'll do to you what you tried to do to Amara. I'll make you disappear. Permanently." Seo's composure finally cracked. She grabbed the folder with shaking hands and stood. "You're making a mistake. That woman will be your downfall." "If she is, then I'll fall gladly." Seo stared at him for a long moment, then turned and walked out without another word. That evening, Amara stood in the garden of the Kang estate, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. She was wearing her blue and white uniform again, not because she had to, but because Jisoo had asked her to come back, not as an employee, but as family. Small footsteps came running across the grass. "Amara! Amara, look!" Seo-Jun came sprinting toward her, blonde curls flying, holding something in her cupped hands. "Look what I found!" Amara knelt down. "What is it, baby?" Seo-Jun opened her hands carefully. A butterfly sat in her palm. Its wings were a stunning mix of blue and gold, shimmering in the fading light. "It's so pretty," Seo-Jun whispered. Do you think it's from Mommy?" Amara's breath caught. She remembered the stories Seo-Jun had told her, how Isabel had loved butterflies, how she decorated the nursery with them before she died. "I think it might be," Amara said softly. "I think your mommy is saying hello." The butterfly lifted off Seo-Jun's palm and circled around them twice before flying away into the sunset. Seo-Jun watched it go, then looked up at Amara with those bright blue eyes. "Amara, can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Can I call you Ama?" The Korean word for mom. "I know you're not my real mommy, but you feel like my mommy. And I think my real mommy would want me to have someone to love me like she did." Amara's eyes filled with tears. She pulled Seo-Jun into her arms and held her tight. "Yes, baby, You can call me Emma. I would be honored. Really? Really. Seo-Jun threw her arms around Amara's neck. I love you, Amma. I love you too, sweetheart. So, so much. Behind them, Jisoo stood on the terrace watching. His head of security approached quietly. Sir, Min Seo boarded a flight to Singapore an hour ago. Our sources confirm she won't be returning. Good. Jisoo didn't take his eyes off Amara and Seo-Jun. Double the security anyway, and I want a full background check on anyone who comes within 100 feet of this property. Yes, sir. The man hesitated. If I may say so, sir, I haven't seen you smile like that in years. Jisoo didn't realize he was smiling, but he was. I haven't had a reason to in years. He walked down the terrace steps and across the garden. When Amara saw him coming, she stood, keeping Seo-Jun's hand in hers. Everything okay? She asked. Everything's perfect. He looked at his daughter. Seo-Jun, it's getting late. Time to get ready for bed. Can Amma tuck me in? Jisoo's eyes widened slightly at the word. Amma. Mom. He looked at Amara, who nodded with tears in her eyes. She can, he said softly. She can tuck you in every night from now on if she wants to. Really? Seo-Jun's face lit up. You mean Amma is staying forever? Forever, Jisoo confirmed, his eyes locked on Amara's. Seo-Jun squealed and ran toward the house. I'm going to pick out the best pajamas, the princess ones. When she was gone, Jisoo stepped closer to Amara. Amma, he said quietly. She called you Amma. I hope that's okay. It's more than okay. He reached for her hand. I know this won't be easy. I know there will be threats and danger and complications, but I meant what I said yesterday. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing you. I'm choosing us. So am I. Amara squeezed his hand. No matter what comes, we face it together. Together, he repeated. He pulled her close and kissed her softly, tenderly, like a promise. When they broke apart, the stars were beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Somewhere in that house, a little girl was picking out princess pajamas, her heart full for the first time since her mother died. Somewhere in the universe, a woman named Isabel smiled, knowing her daughter would be loved and protected. And in that garden, two broken people who'd found each other in the most unlikely circumstances held on to each other and chose hope over fear, chose love over safety, chose family over everything else. Because sometimes the greatest act of courage isn't fighting, it's staying, it's loving, it's believing that happiness is worth the risk. If you made it this far, you're amazing. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and tell us in the comments, did this story make you feel something? Have you ever fought for love even when it seemed impossible? Share your story with us. And remember, family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the people who choose to stay when everyone else walks away. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next story.